and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's go.
Round one, fight.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crypto Street Podcast. Here are your hosts, Killer Whale, Prince, and Crypto Dale.
And remember to tip your waitress.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Crypto Dale back on the scene, coming from snowy-ass bumfuck Iowa. You know, on today's podcast, Killer and I are usually in the numbers here with 2 United States citizens and one Canadian, and then one, maybe a United States or from a different country. But today, Killer, we're all knotted up, so we got to be careful.
It's like some kind of war, Dale, out here. It's the Americans versus the Canadians.
and maybe with Prince being such a shitty ambassador for me to get unbanned from Canada, maybe I could get Notso to talk to the president or prime, whatever the hell you got.
We got something up here. I don't know.
We got something. I don't know what it is, but there's something.
Some sort of leadership up there. Prince,
what's up?
We're going to start the show out with our annual Canadian weather update. What do you got for us?
Oh, I got a little something for you guys. So we had an extreme morning last night, which obviously got pretty wild out here. So I couldn't even really get into my truck today. The snow was halfway up the truck. The doors, I had to get the shovel. I was kind of snowed in. It was pretty ridiculous. So trying to shovel the sidewalk was a workout, and I'm out of shape and lazy. So yeah, I was a puddle. I was a mess.
Those of you that don't know, Prince is a grizzly bear. So when he says truck, he means monster truck. So the snow has got to be at least 7 feet tall.
At least 7 feet.
It gets like that in some areas. Fortunately, not in mine. I feel for you, man, though. I've been there before. Just no time recently. So
Prince is he's in such the woods of Canada. I feel like Prince, I don't know anything about Canada.
Yeah,
this is completely me speculating.
I'm in the West, right? And I guess I'm in Alberta, and we get it pretty bad. And then Saskatchewan gets it bad.
Have you ever seen any bears, Prince? Real bears? Other than you?
Fellow bears?
Man. Oh, hell yeah.
Not when you look in the mirror either.
Man, I've been growing up around that shit. You go camping, and you have a grizzly bear just wander into your campsite fucking middle of the night trying to steal your hot dog.
Prince, do you think you could kill a 200-pound bear?
With my hands?
Be legit.
It'd be a tough fight.
Yeah. No way.
It'd be a tough fight.
I like how he considers it, though. He's not even
just because he'd have one arm tied behind his back is what he's saying to make it fair. Today's guest is the what word am I looking for? I almost want to say founder, because that's how big of a
prestigious,
prestigious.
Don't put that on me.
Wow, pressure.
Today's guest is Notsofast, one of the main 2 go-to mining guys in the crypto space. So Notso, thank you very much for being on. I know you're busy as shit, so thanks for taking the time.
No, I'm glad. I'm busy, but not for something like this. This is awesome. This is what I live for. Just conversations about what we all love. So
perfect.
Yeah,
awesome.
Appreciate it very much. I was kind of dinking around today, and the last time your episode aired was November 27th, and was kind of looking at some prices of some stuff, and Killer and Prince and I were kind of talking about this earlier. So the last time you were on, this is kind of crazy to see. The Bitcoin dominance was at about 53.5%, whereas today, when I checked earlier, it's at 35.6.
Wow.
Price of Bitcoin today was, when I looked, was about 8,200, and back when your episode released was about 9,700. Market cap is still up about $85 billion since then, but it peaked a lot higher. I'd say almost double what it was when you were on last. So it's just kind of cool to see one that sticks out. Ethereum damn near doubled, went from 491 to 808.
Yep.
Bitcoin Cash is down. Litecoin too is almost doubled, and Killer's XRP is almost tripled. So
Heyo.
here's you guys want to hear the best one?
Oh God.
Drum roll, please. Incoming Lux Shill.
Yeah.
It was 98 cents. Lux was 98 cents when we recorded this, and today when I checked, it was $15.76. That's hot as fuck, guys.
That was a big win. Big win.
Shout out Bully for not listening to my call at 92 cents. I told him to buy.
What a mistake.
So Notso, let's get down to business here. Talk
Sure.
some mining. What's new to the mining since we've talked last? Anything? One thing we do want to kind of touch on was Samsung announcing the new mining chips. What do you got for us?
That's a cool thing to talk about, Samsung launching chips, because it shows that other giant businesses in the world are seeing mining or crypto as a larger thing, as being something that maybe they want to dip their toe into. So like Samsung's a big company. They make a whole bunch of different types of electronics and machinery. I don't even know the extent of what they make, because they have stuff in Asia that doesn't even make it to us, to our part of the world, right?
Pretty vast.
Yeah, it's super vast. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there are Samsung cars or something out there. I know there's like forklifts or something, but like they got everything. So the fact that they're entering the miner fray tells me a few things. It tells me that they have extra capacity for their microchip manufacturing facilities, and that making crypto miners from that, it must be as or more profitable than something else that they're making. So they decided to kick something else out, because obviously these factories, I'm sure, are running full bore, and make miners. And what that means for everything at large, this is getting a little bit over the top macroeconomic speculative here. But I think that with sort of all the regulation tightening happening around ICO markets, we might see a resurgence of proof of work type coins that, I kind of cut my teeth on 5 years ago now when I was new. And we're going to see a whole lot more people getting into home mining, kind of a back to the roots type thing for crypto, where people do like to make money at home from their own electricity. And when I say make money, I don't mean earn money. I mean actually create it out of thin air, which was the cool thing that attracted me to crypto in the first place. And Bitcoin will have a whole bunch more hash rate and distributed miners working on it, rather than just kind of a central massive set of warehouses in China. That'll kind of go back to the people, and there'll be many more alternatives created for people to mine. There'll be the ecosystem's going to grow by another leap and bound, I think, with a business like Samsung entering the fray. Like, Bitmain's big,
Yes.
but Samsung's it's fucking Samsung.
Samsung's
Yeah,
a giant.
Samsung accounts for like a lot of the economy in South Korea, actually. So I know nothing about mining. Like, what about these Samsung chips makes them so much better? Are they going to be cheaper for more power? Are they just more powerful outright? What's kind of the advantage? Do we even know yet? It's probably unclear.
Yeah, I wish I had more knowledge about that level of manufacturing, and I got a little taste. It was a good taste when I was doing some advisor stuff for the people at DCR ASIC, which they're making like a specific miner just for Decred. They informed me way more about the process, so that's why I can speak with the tiny amount of knowledge I have about Samsung's potential manufacturing operations. Whereas before I talked to them, I had pretty much none at all. I don't know if they have better chips. I just know that they're big. They have access to the facilities that make them. And it's kind of this whole dance of like different chip sizes. You know how the speed of processors doubles every 14 months or whatever, it's Moore's law, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not by accident. That's like just a process of a stable manufacturing thing where it's really expensive to do, miners at a certain chip size until everything else before it that's more important, like CPUs for computers and everything, is sort of obsolete and moves on to the next thing, and then people are willing to move it. So it's just sort of like a long line of handshakes moving down the line. And with Samsung entering the fray, they have deals in place and reservations on these chip manufacturing facilities in place. So you're just going to see more. of this stuff. And I don't necessarily think theirs will be better than Bitmain's or anybody else's, but there will definitely be more of them. So it might shock the return on investment for current mining rigs if they, choose to flood the market with a gigantic amount of production. But I guess we'll see. As for better or worse, probably about the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think if anything, they might be like a little bit cheaper just because Samsung has economies of scale that Bitmain, even though it's a gigantic company, I don't think quite has. I mean, that's just me speculating again. But I think if anything, there'll be like a slight upgrade,
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with you for sure. I mean, Bitmain has definitely thrown its weight around with economies of scale. If you know Sia Coin, there's a company called Obelisk that made the first Sia Coin miner, and that's got its own little algorithm, very close to the Decred miner as well. So Bitmain, Obelisk has been working on this for a year. Theirs were supposed to drop this June, their Sia miner. So what Bitmain did was they stealth launched a Sia Coin miner that was ready like in January of this year. So they beat Obelisk to the punch, ninja launching a miner that was way underpowered, but you could still get like a good 4 or 5 months of kick-ass mining power out of it before Obelisk's better machine did finally hit. And not only did they do that, but they also, and this is where it comes to them throwing their weight around, they offered like a massive coupon, like $800 off if you had purchased an Obelisk miner. They would let you take like almost get one of their A3 Sia Coin miners for like super cheap. Like
that's pretty cutthroat. I like it.
Oh yeah, they're they're just swinging their weight around. This little guy that was sort of taking their time in this marketplace. Bitmain just came in and swung for the fences, like with the intent of putting them out of business and making them almost obsolete. Or at least filling up miners' garages or basements or warehouses or whatever with A3s or Bitmain products rather than this independent product. So it's so cutthroat, this release schedule for miners, because there's a battle to do different chip sizes and make the other guys obsolete and everything. And there's a big investment to get these things produced. So if you've already got it and you're Bitmain or Samsung, you have a bit of an upper hand. And if you're these other guys, it's challenging. Definitely some competition in there.
Who do we got like main competitors right now for the mining scene? Like really Bitmain, they seem to be like the top dogs. Now we're seeing that Samsung is going to get into the game. I'm not overly familiar though with, some of the suppliers and the wholesale dealers in this industry.
There's a few. There's but they're all smaller than Bitmain. There's one called Baikel, which I really like because I think it's one guy and he just kind of hires other little manufacturing places in China to do it. And the way he maintains a competitive advantage is his ASIC miners don't just mine one algorithm, they mine a bunch of different ones. So like his X11 miners would also do like X13, X15, X17 or whatever. It's not a big deal. Right. And his miners are often underpowered and overpriced compared to the competition, but he does have that little extra thing and people do make money off his miners. There's one called InnoSilicon. Their stuff works okay. There's one more whose name escapes me right now. But in any case, there are a good 5 or 6 players. There's a newer one called Halong Mining, which is making Bitcoin miners this year. They seem to have a lot of money behind them. I don't know too much about what size they are, but it seems like they're a large enough player in Asia that certain financial interests brought them together and said, oh, well, a company like Bitmain shouldn't have 100% of the production capability. Like we should get in there and eat some of their pie. I think that's what Halong is doing.
Like I know kind of how mining works, and like you buy graphics chips and you set up a rig and you perform computations and you get coins in in reward for that. So, but like a lot of what you said there is like still Chinese to me. And so it's like very interesting just how there are levels to this stuff.
Oh,
you know?
totally.
And I think that's true of so many things in life where it's like, even if it's like finance, for example, where it's like, you might think you know about finance, but that's like the dangerous stage when you think you know what you're talking about. Because like you don't really know enough to know that you don't know what you're talking about. Which is interesting because like that's the dangerous stage, you know? And I feel like for mining, that could be the same thing. So for people who are new to mining or who maybe have thought about mining for a long time, but it's sort of like a technical hurdle for them, what advice would you give? Like, are there any particular coins that are noob friendly in terms of buying the graphics chips or kind of guide a noob on that sort of stuff?
Okay, so the best way to get into it, I think, but because it takes a commitment, right? The obvious best way to do it is to do it yourself with physical hardware. And that kind of takes an investment. So there's a program out there that you can use to sort of simulate mining or just mine with a computer. It's better to use a computer like a PC, not a laptop, but you can try it out on a laptop. It's called MinerGate. And I kind of recommend people to just download MinerGate, run it on even your laptop just for like 30 seconds and see what it actually does. Because it'll spin up your fans, it'll bring your CPU of your laptop to 100% utilization, and it'll make like 0.000001 Monero for you in that time period and almost burn out your laptop. So it's kind of like a lesson. Like, this is what it's going to take as a commitment of equipment to secure the network of this cryptocurrency. Whatever it happens to be mining.
So use it on that old laptop that you've already destroyed due to porn, basically.
Yeah, totally. Like you can just let it get out its dying gasps by making you a little bit of money after having burned out the screen and messed up the keyboard. So yeah, like before committing hardware, it's nice to just test it out and see, okay, wow, this actually does take electricity. This actually does take like resources from a machine. And if that type of thing sort of interests you further, it's worth, like, I always say, like, try and keep the hurdle you have to jump over as low as possible. So if you have like an old gaming rig and an old GPU, plug that in and turn it on. Like, it may not make you a ton of money as much as it would over like going to the store and dropping 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 grand on a new computer full of mining rigs, but your cost is already sunk for that. So you don't have to jump over this hurdle of paying electricity and making back this hardware expense that you have to, that you would have to, recoup before you could start making pure, clear profit. I used old gear when I started. I just went and bought crappy old GPUs. Some of them were so crappy they wouldn't even mine crypto. But it was my experimentation, right? I was seeing like, maybe this $5 GPU will make me $10.
You got to start somewhere, don't you?
So that just, dip your toe into the pool. Don't commit a bunch of money right away, because then you get freaked out, right? It's like over positioning in a trade where you bought too much, and then it messes your head up, your emotions get involved, and then you make the wrong decision. Same thing with mining. Like, if you have old gear, you can scoop an old GPU off a gamer friend or like a little brother or something. That's my suggestion on how to get into it. Don't overcommit, because it does take a commitment of hardware resources. Just dip your toe into the pool as little as you can.
Yeah. I say one thing that I didn't consider at all, like when I first started reading about mining, was that you can resell the graphics chips. Is there anything like a noob should know about that? Like, can you like damage them and make them less effective? Like, would that affect your resale value? Or because I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah.
So is that like a concern? Or
at first it is, and that's sort of like the reason why you'd get into GPU mining as opposed to ASIC mining, because GPUs they have a secondary, it's a primary market really for gamers. So the whole idea was, if my mining doesn't work out, at least I can part this rig out, sell the GPUs to gamers, and make some money back.
That's what I
do. The crazy thing is, the crazy thing is with ASICs, like sometimes the supply and demand is such that you can buy some units, mine like hell with them, and then at a time when they're hard to get on secondhand marketplaces, turn around and sell them for more than you paid. sometimes like 50% or 100% more than you paid for these miners that have already been hashing for you. The master of doing that is Crypto Juggalo. He just kind of built his rig army and his farm from the ground up. And he always seems to just be like, yeah, I'm going to cash out right now while people want to buy my old miners. So there is a little bit, and it, awesome. Depends on your location too. If you live in a really good urban center with a hop and Craigslist or whatever, you'll do a lot better with this type of thing than if you live kind of in the middle of Alberta, like some of us. And bears aren't going to buy your rigs, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Notso, one thing that I kind of see that's coming up a little more on Twitter feed is, proof of stake versus proof of work.
Yeah.
Maybe touch on that a little bit to noob it down a little, I guess, for people that are listening that don't necessarily know what the POS versus POW is.
For sure. Okay, so imagine like proof of work. We've been talking, it's a commitment of hardware to secure the network. You guys kind of know how masternodes work, right? You put up a bunch of collateral and they do some higher order functions and stuff. Proof of stake is like masternodes, except you don't have to put up a set amount of collateral. You put up a bunch of coins, and the amount of coins you put up either gives you a proportionate amount of interest, like it's not really interest, but it works sort of the same way, or it gives you lottery tickets, and the more higher balance that you have, the better chances you will win staking block rewards. So it's pretty awesome because it's passive income. There are some technical issues with it that make it arguably a bit less secure than proof of work networks. And I've seen proof of stake networks, get attacked before. I've seen proof of work networks get attacked before. But the bottom line is, for new people, you don't have to have a lot of coins in order to earn stakes. And there are some gaming you can play in the wallet to split your wallets up into specific sizes of coin balances in order to earn more stakes than you normally would. So there's an optimization game that you can play with staking too that I haven't gotten really into, but it's pretty fun. You can earn more for your passive income if you want to fool around with it. But bottom line is, if you want to hold an open wallet on your computer with a coin balance in it, you can earn passive income just like with masternodes. So it is pretty awesome.
Are there any masternodes you're a fan of? Like, because I that's another thing I've been interested in, but I really haven't dove deep into it yet.
Yeah, I can give you a really quick overview of what masternodes are. So the best example is Dash, because it's the original masternode. If you have Dash in a wallet, it just sits there and it doesn't really do anything. But you can commit 1,000 Dash, and I know that's quite a lot of money, but long ago it wasn't that much money.
Yeah, it wasn't much longer.
Yeah, it wasn't that much longer.
Crazy how time flies.
No kidding. So you could commit 1,000 Dash exactly in a separate cold wallet and sign a transaction. This is just so that you don't have to have like the 1,000 Dash in an open wallet that could get hacked or whatever. Sign a transaction to a masternode wallet. And what that allows you to do is some higher order functions that serve the network. So one of them is mixing. That's Dash's version of anonymity that's not too huge, but it basically just puts up a bunch of coins, lets it mix them, and the masternodes are trusted enough to do this function because they've got 1,000 Dash on the line, right? Like they're not going to cheat. The Dash isn't on the line, but in return for allowing this mixing function and being one of the electable nodes that participate in it, they get masternode rewards, which is a specific percentage of the mined block reward. Doesn't go to the miners, goes to the masternodes. So they kind of get a share for just being available to do work. The coolest thing about masternodes is that if you have a masternode, you can sign a message from your wallet that's actually a vote for a proposal of a super block of Dash that hits the network once a month. And those proposals pay for whatever project you can think of. You can submit a proposal to the Dash network for a fee of 5 Dash, have all the masternodes vote yay or nay, and earn Dash for whatever. So if you know that Amanda girl, she has promotional videos for Dash, and she did that when Dash was like $16, and now she's made probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Dash just from submitting a proposal to do promo videos and getting it accepted, doing the videos and getting paid a ton of Dash. So that's another thing that's cool about masternodes. But they're also just passive income. If you've got that collateralized masternode, you can earn masternode rewards from it through doing nothing except maintaining your node, having an open wallet.
How much is it? How much does a Dash masternode cost right now?
So 1,000 Dash, and I'm looking that up right now.
I know it's a lot, but I want to give people the exact number just to for them to realize.
One Dash is $594.40 USD, so it's gonna set you back $594,400.
Cheaper than it was.
There was a point that it was 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So maybe this is the time to buy a Dash masternode. I don't know.
Well, I think masternodes are big because even my old man goes to a bunch of investor conferences, all this crap, and blah blah blah. A bunch of people like to go network and talk, and a lot of the things is you get these traditional finance folks, big metals investors, and they seem to just love this idea of masternodes. Like they just froth at the mouth over this idea. So I think there's going to be a serious I think Dash has been a great example of how well some masternode coins can do. I think we're going to see more of that kind of amplified as we go on in this.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, especially the part about the older investors, because there's something about that that's just like, oh, well, you have to put up a certain non-small amount to get involved, and they love that shit. They love that sort of setting themselves apart, and then it's
like an exclusive feeling.
Exactly, it's a bit of exclusivity, and then belonging to a network and. Some of these are differentiating themselves in pretty cool ways. Like if you will allow me to get on my shill soapbox for a moment, I'm the director of finance for Monetary Unit, MU, and they have masternodes, and we're working on a different voting system, kind of learning from Dash's mistakes because they were the first. They made a ton. They screwed up a lot. They funded basically just shitty proposals with no mechanism for making people actually follow through on the work that they did to get paid all that Dash. So we're trying to build a different system that allows for kind of escrowed payments or milestones to be hit, and then everybody votes on whether the milestones were hit, or if the people's quality of execution on the proposal sucked, then they don't get paid. And there's so many other really good masternode coins right now. They're doing something different, like Alco, ALQO. That's a recent one, not too expensive if I remember correctly. And they're just based in Germany, so they're trying to focus on masternode proposals to support projects local to Germany. So if you're in Eastern Europe or in Germany, it may be more worth looking at than something from somewhere else.
I know one I keep looking at is Zcoin. Pulling the trigger or not.
Yeah, I have not gotten into those just because of my sort of diehard Zcash investment thesis, but man, it's so good. It's so good.
Wait, what is your Zcash investment thesis? Because I am somebody who's never really gotten the Zcash thing. I've always preferred Monero, so I'm curious to hear your opinion on this because I'm going to respect your opinion.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be.
I don't think there's a fight between the two of those necessarily. Monero has its own bull case, and I bought, even though it's pretty near highs, I bought more Monero today, a lot. But Zcash. It was sort of the original ZK snark, zero knowledge proof cryptocurrency. And it's got so much kind of behind the scenes major player investment behind it. I kind of feel like that's going to give it legs to go really far in ways that maybe as an investor, I don't even really understand myself. But Monero is also an awesome play because literally nobody controls it. Botnets mine 2/3 of all Monero. And that is extremely powerful because if you think about it, the world's computing power is just growing exponentially, right? And as it grows, the amount of it that's not secured and therefore controllable by a botnet is going to grow even faster. And if the default thing for all that rogue computing power to do is mine Monero, that network is going to be fucking strong.
This is so fascinating Because I never thought of Monero. Like, I know Monero, I know the technology is good, but I've never thought about it in that capacity. You know, like that was an entirely new like bull thesis on it. So it's like, it's super fascinating.
Yeah,
to see
that just came to me from a conversation I was having with This Is News and a few other people earlier today. Like, somebody else posted a tweet about the Monero. Kind of from a block explorer, you can see who's mining the blocks of any given coin. So a lot of people see the different Bitcoin pools that are mining it. And the Monero pie is like, it's got this white part that's 2/3 of it. It just says unknown because it's botnets. So it's
So
hilarious.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a question here.
Hit me.
You know, with all we're seeing now, big players are really kind of moving into the mining sector and they're seeing the obvious opportunity. How do you see this playing out for maybe the retail miner who just wants to, you know, set up a rig in his basement or something? Do you think it's still going to be kind of profitable for the retail guy as more big business moves into the space? You know, how do you see that maybe playing out?
I'm sure it will still be profitable for retail. And I think the way it will be is for them to use kind of third-party profit-seeking services that take a little bit of a cut and kind of mine the most profitable coin for them. So like if the big miners move, you know, Samsung gets their Bitcoin miners up and Halong gets their Bitcoin miners up, and suddenly like if you don't have, you know, if you have a medium-sized warehouse, you can't even compete. Bitcoin's going to be sort of off the table for the little guy. But what will be on the table is all these other small, and I call them speculative mining currencies or spec mining currencies. And the nice thing is that there are multi-pools, mining pools, where you just point your GPU hash power or your ASIC hash power at the pool, and they have an internal algorithm that just mines the most profitable thing for you. Sometimes 10 different currencies at once, through a bunch of things where you can share the proof of work for Litecoin with Dogecoin, for example, or just send script hash to the next coin with the lowest difficulty block. So these pools do that for you. There's Zpool or zpool.ca. There's Pro Hashing, which is a really, really powerful one. That's I believe it's based in America. There's multipool.us, which was the original profit switching multipool. And so newer users will be able to just, or smaller miners will just be able to point their rigs at a multipool and earn that level of, you know, the most profitable amount of money that they could by spec mining all these currencies without even realizing they're doing so through an intermediary.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's
yeah, man, you don't even have to pick what
awesome.
to mine. You can, you just point it to the multipool and let them do it for you.
What's like a simple at-home solution for the electricity or the heat problems? Those are two things I've wondered about. And I know there are a couple different methods you can take, from cooling the systems to, you know, getting more affordable power. What have you found, you know, just in terms of when you started out mining, at least, what solutions did you find for the electricity and the heat problems?
So the nice thing to do, if you're just a home miner and you have access to your own living space, if you're in an apartment, you may not want to be a miner unless you have access to some kind of separate storage area. If you live in a house and there's an area in your basement by the furnace, it's good to stick them down there, because they are hot and they are loud. They're loud enough that they'll be annoying to walk around and listen to, but they can actually cause long-term hearing damage, even just with GPUs going full bore. Yeah, yeah. So you do have to be careful. The fact of the matter is, just make it as cheap as you can. So like drill a hole in your foundation and stick like a little tube fan in there for exhaust. That's what I did. And that's what my miners, they heat up the house. Sometimes in the winter in Canada, my air conditioning turns on and that's not good. But
That's what my brother was doing. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get these miners going, and he's young, so he's not paying for electricity. He's gonna try to skip it out of his parents, and he's like, man, I'm just gonna turn the air conditioning on, and then everything's gonna be good. So the electricity bill came in, and it was like, whoa!
Oh man, well that's actually funny, because if you can externalize your electricity costs somehow, I mean, that's kind of how I did it. I've kind of had this flat rate rent on a workshop for my meat space business. And I mined with like surplus and used rigs there at free electricity for 2 years before the landlord caught on and got really mad at me. I think I tell the story all the time, but like,
pretty good setup.
Good job.
He was not a happy camper. He was into mining too, which is the worst part. Like when he broke into my unit and saw what I was doing, he knew exactly what was going on. So he was mad.
Hey, Notso, let's maybe touch base on this whole thing that's going on with Binance right now.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your take on that? I know, some people are saying that since it's been down, for those that don't know, Binance is an exchange that's been down for what, 2-3 days now, maybe?
I think like 2
couple
days, like 1.5 or 2.
And so they're saying it's server updates and stuff like that. So other people are kind of alluding to the fact that they think that maybe they got attacked or hacked or something and are trying to recoup coins. So let's just see what you're,
Okay, for sure. So this is a way in which I think CZ or Changpeng Zhao, I guess is his name. He's the CEO who was just featured in Forbes as being like probably a billionaire twice over from his 6 months of work in Binance. So he's been on Twitter and he's been active to allay fears of his exchange having been hacked. He posted his Ethereum, Binance's main Bitcoin and Ethereum addresses. So you can look those up in a block explorer. I looked up the Bitcoin address, and there were 2,000 Bitcoins in the account at that time, and there had been over 1 million that had passed through that address. That's mind-boggling, because that's like 20% of all the Bitcoins that will ever be made pass through that address. That value anyway, which is crazy. So it's legit. Nuts. I didn't even look up the Ethereum one up because I was like, okay, that's quite likely legit, I mean, I don't know how he would have found that address and claimed that it was his. He may have done so. There's no telling for sure whether he did, but if that's Binance's address, and it wouldn't be too hard to do some forensics and figure out whether it was, it's likely that it's his. When you have an exchange infrastructure with that many people connecting to it all the time, and you have to do some routine server rebuilding or whatever they have to do, I am not surprised that it's going to take 2 or 3 or 4 days to resync wallets if you lose all that stuff. Is it good? Is it does it instill fear in traders? Like, obviously, for sure. But you got to remember that this guy's company came from nothing in 6 months and became the biggest cryptocurrency exchange. So though they have a massive amount of infrastructure, there are still certain parts of it. Like, I'm sure they didn't have a complete backup of all these blockchains that they were supporting or databases that they had for internal stuff. Even when something goes down, like restoring that amount of vast information from backups takes a long time to do correctly. So though I would not be, I'm a little unsettled that they're down. I'm not perturbed by how long it's taking. Like, I don't think they're doing a runner at all.
Yeah. And I was talking with a coworker about this today, where it's like they've done so many things that are contrary to what you would think an exchange that was doing like an exit scam would do. Like, they're very public. We know who they are. They're on mainstream media. The guy's showing his face. We have his name. We know where he lives. And they've done, especially with communication. They've been providing updates every 2 hours on Twitter. That is so incredible if you compare it to a place like Poloniex or Bittrex, which I like both of those exchanges. but their communication is nowhere near that, especially Poloniex. They tweet like once every month.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And so just
You're
the fact
left in the
that,
dark.
the fact that they've been constantly in contact with the community has like served to settle people's concerns a lot. And these other exchanges, I mean, Bully said this on Twitter, they can really learn a lesson from this, where a little bit of communication and transparency will make everybody chill out a little bit, less heat on you. And I just think it's the right way to go
totally
about
agree
it.
with you.
It's funny because I always kind of, I was like, in my mind, I never really used Binance, so just until recently, but I was always like, yeah, this will probably be the exchange that does an exit scam or something. I just knew nothing about it. But now I'm seeing this situation, how it's all being handled, and it's like, to me, it just seems really professional, which I think is something that we don't always see in crypto land. So
true.
I've been,
and with crypto being 24/7, when the hell do you expect exchanges and stuff like this to update their servers and stuff? So
they don't get weekends off.
Right, exactly. That kind of puts a black eye on the situation.
Yeah, I'm amazed that the Binance has been able to handle as much volume as they have. Because like somebody like Poloniex, I mean, when they were going through this massive growth in crypto like a year and a half ago, they were crashing constantly. And Binance is like really usable, other than this couple day period where it's been down. And so I think that's like, it's a way better way of going about it than waiting until your server's about to melt and then like adding one or two, like the Polo method. Sorry, Poloniex, I love your UI, but my God, you never had enough servers.
No, that's totally right. Well, like this is the thing, like Binance wasn't operating under any, old school assumptions. Like Bittrex not allowing new user signups for 2 months now. I talk with Bill Shihara on occasion, and from what I understand, like they planned to add more that 10 times the servers that they thought they'd ever need, and they still got maxed out. So they still didn't have any idea how big crypto would be. Binance is newer. They didn't come with those old school crypto preconceptions. They knew how big it was and how big it was going to get. So their advanced planning for 10 times was much more. But this goes back to the other point that you were just making, the 24/7 market. You're right. There's no downtime to go fix stuff. Like traditional finance markets, the opening bell rings at 9:30 a.m. and the closing bell rings at 3:30 or 4? I don't even remember now. They got all night to fix stuff. There's all their text guys work like all night. Like even Forex markets close for 24 hours over a Sunday or 12 hours maybe. But that's enough to get stuff back online and do all the housekeeping. With crypto, that opportunity just doesn't exist. You're always got to be in a small state of maintenance and sometimes a big state of maintenance where everything goes offline. So this is actually, even less of a reason to have to worry about something too badly. Just, we're so used to having whatever we want all the time that we don't give it a chance.
Yeah, that's the issue with crypto. Everything is so instant, You get your money usually when you want your money. You get those gains quicker than you
margin called on 100x more faster than you ever thought.
Yeah. Through a bull market and a bear market, the cycles are quicker. Everything is.
It's almost like social media in monetary form, where it's just addicting. Dopamine hits, it never dies. You're constantly looking at it.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
That's the damn truth. I wake up in the middle of the night to take a piss because I'm old, and what do you think the first thing I do is pull up my Blockfolio and just see what's going on. I'm not, not even necessarily looking at my balance or whatever.
Just see what's changed.
God, it's awful, dude. And like 2 hours later, you're going back to sleep.
And then an hour later, I'm up at 5 a.m.
Oh, last weekend there, we're all like, we'll take some time off, rest, recoup myself from the crypto markets. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Busy watching charts, trading shit coins, getting all leveraged up on mechs. It's hard to stay away.
I don't know if we did bullish bearish with you last time. We're gonna just kind of run through it here quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
This is where we have 4 coins that we're gonna touch on, and we're gonna say if you guys are bullish or bearish, and then just give a quick reasoning as to why. Let's kind of keep this since the way the market is. Let's keep your thoughts in a couple weeks or whatever, and see what you guys think. Obviously, the one we have to start with is the biggest one of all, Bitcoin. Currently on CoinMarketCap listed about 8,054. Bullish, bearish. Prince started off.
Oh, you want me to start? Jeez.
Unless your name's not Prince.
I'm going to break the rules and go neutral. I don't really have a strong opinion either way on this. I think Bitcoin could very well muddle between like maybe 7,500, 8,000 and 10,000 for a little bit. And then kind of make up its mind as to whether it wants to break 10 and then break higher. I'll go
so
neutral.
Killer, let me ask you this. Let's elaborate on that a tinge. Do you think that if it sits and maybe say consolidates for a little bit, that alts may take off?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It's definitely conducive, or it can be. I think the way the alt runs usually get started is Bitcoin is flat or down for a little bit. Alts kind of get a little confidence, and then maybe Bitcoin grinds higher, and these alts kind of grind higher against the ratio as well. And so then your dollar value really increases like crazy. So I could see that sort of being the kind of thing that happens here. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for touching on that. I get a lot of questions on that. So Prince or not so, what do you guys think?
I go for it. I think so. We saw the volume that came in, especially around that 6K US mark. The volume has just been insane, which to me is an important sign. I like, you got to watch that volume.
Yeah.
And we bounced incredibly after. I think 6K, and then now we're up around 8K. So that's a wicked bounce. It's like, it's tough. Do I think we have a ton more upside? I think we can go over 10K. Yeah. Do I think, we're going to be seeing new all-time highs anytime soon? No, I don't. So, like, this is the thing. We've had so much chop to the downside. I expect there's going to be some pretty good upside bounces, but I think we're just going to see a lot of volatility. I don't think it's going to change upside and downside. It's going to be pretty vicious for the next little bit, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I think the bottom's in. We're going to chop like crazy. We're going to have some silly red candles on the daily and some silly green candles on the daily. But if I were to say within the next 2 weeks whether I was bullish or bearish, I would say bullish. I'd bet we'd creep up to 9 or 10,000 again, and then try and establish a range. We probably wouldn't do that in 2 weeks, but we'll try and establish a range somewhere around there, like between the 8,000 and 11,000 mark. And then that's just going to be another launch pad for alts, because so many alts have retraced almost back to like full retracement from the bull market highs, except at a higher dollar value price of Bitcoin. So like there's going to be an alt party this year like we've never seen before, and that's coming soon.
Sweet.
God damn, I love hearing that, and I know everyone listening.
I'm so giddy right now. Like I have like a warm fuzzy feeling right now, honestly. It's kind of concerning how good that made me feel. I think the greed has been just overtaking my...
I think our producer needs to edit that, and that'd be the last thing that everyone...
It's going to be so much FOMO if you close it out with that.
I can't wait.
Shit. And you know what? I'm just gonna edit your voice out to. You're gonna be like, instead of alt, it's gonna say Lux.
Lux. Fucking Dale.
All right, moving on. Ethereum currently CoinMarketCap 803. Bullish, bearish. One of you guys take the lead.
I'm sticking with the same analysis I gave Bitcoin, because I still think Ethereum is very much tied to Bitcoin still. As much as I want to see it lose that and kind of take its own path, it's still not. So I'm going to say same. I'm kind of neutral. I think it's going to bounce around a lot. Hopefully we can see it balance out a bit.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm mildly bearish to kind of neutral. Just with all this regulation stuff popping up, I mean, the engine of Ethereum right now is like ICO and project financing, and with regulation hanging over its heads, that might slow down a little bit. I think it's still going to get a boost in USD value just because it's going to stay range bound to Bitcoin value as Bitcoin does its thing. But right now, Ethereum's getting towards a point of being kind of maxed out for velocity, and it's gonna chill out for a bit, and the price may slide off a little bit as regulations get solidified.
Yeah, I'm looking at the price right now, $802. The Bitcoin ratio is around 0.1, so it's been kind of hanging around 0.1 for a while, I think. I'll go very slightly bullish, not much. I love Ethereum. It's one of my biggest positions. I know it's beloved by the Silicon Valley crowd and new people to crypto in general. So I think that's a very good thing. A lot of people see it as like their chance to get in on something that they missed out on with Bitcoin. And so I go very slightly bullish, but the chart action is a little bit ugly on the dollar chart.
Yeah, it's good FA.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, Litecoin currently at 145. Bearish, bullish. Go ahead.
Oh, bearish.
Yeah, I'll go bearish too. Actually, ever since Charlie Lee was out,
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I'm
Look at the chart.
I'm waiting for the tweet from Charlie saying I'm back in. That's what I'm waiting for.
After he's been buying like the past 2 months, just like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Dude, I'm looking at this chart. It is hideous. Like the Bitcoin chart, the dollar chart, it's all just fugly. Like if you look at everything, and like I swear, especially the dollar chart, it went straight up and it's gone just about straight down.
Oh yeah, full retrace for sure.
Bearish. It's
yeah,
ugly.
I'm a little
Very
bearish on Litecoin just because of its history of being like a rock, and the rock flew at the end of 2017.
I think there's a lot of people who don't know the history of the rock, but
you can see it on the chart of just like a flat line, like a rock.
You're gonna learn
is what it did. And like,
oh yeah.
No. Something else Charlie Lee said is like, yeah, Litecoin. I mean, it does what it does. It will be $3 or $4 forever, and then it'll be like $75 forever, and then it'll be like $400 forever.
That's encouraging.
It does set these plateaus and then just sit on them rock like for an era, and then before it moves up again. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with your bearish thing.
People have died waiting for Litecoin to go up.
Your grandchildren will grow old waiting for Litecoin to grow up if you go up.
I'll always remember when I first got into crypto. That was like, people didn't even call it Litecoin.
Yeah.
It was Lit Rock. Like that was it. That's how they referred it. They go and they make a tweet and analysis about Litecoin, and it's I think we're still going to be bearish on Lit Rock, and this is the $3 days, and it would just never friggin' move. It just did this downward drift all the time. It was
like fundamentally, it's got stuff going for it. It's had Lightning Network working on it for longer than Bitcoin's has, but obviously that's not as cool as having Bitcoin with it, because Litecoin didn't have a network fullness problem or a fee problem. So it's still great as a testnet for Bitcoin and a transactional currency and everything. So the fundamentals aren't going anywhere, like a rock doesn't go anywhere. So
yeah, I'm bearish on it too. Ever since Charlie got out and said that he tweeted something about, and I'm gonna paraphrase this, that if you don't like Litecoin, Litecoin has a capability of going back to $4 or something like that. Fucking sell.
Well done, Charlie.
That's so ruthless. Like
you see a gigantic
all
red
these
candle.
New people coming in. They're only buying off Coinbase, and they're like, "Well, what's my cheapest option here?" Oh, no, it's not Bitcoin or Ethereum, so I'm buying Lit Rock. Oh, thanks, Charlie, for telling me it's going back to $4 potentially.
Finally, last one is Bitcoin Cash, currently at 1,200-ish. It's one of the hottest coins on CoinMarketCap today. So what do you guys got, bearish, bullish?
I like that you brought this up. I'll get it going because our friend Roger Ver was on Alex Jones's show today, I believe. We're recording this on Thursday. And I think he got kind of like chased off it because they took some listener calls, and I think they got 3 calls in a row of people who were like, for people who don't know, Roger Ver is a huge scammer. Nobody likes him in the community. And then I think they just cut the segment short. Anyway, $1,300. I'll go bullish, actually.
What's the price of it right now?
$1,300.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it is? What exchange you on?
It's up 30% today. That's why.
Yeah, shit, it
like
is.
Major.
It is 1,300 now. Holy shit.
The Bitcoin ratio is like 0.14 right now.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, it's hard for me to, it's like Bitcoin to me, determines the health of the market for a lot of cases, but it's tough to say I'm bearish on Bitcoin Cash, Bcash, because it's
Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, it's got such a marketing campaign going right now. And so I think, you have to kind of take that into consideration, even if you don't like it. It's like there is a pretty heavy effort going on to really push it onto the masses, and they're not slowing down.
Yeah, no, definitely you're right about that. I don't know. I'm kind of bearish on it just because their momentum from splitting off from Bitcoin Core, I feel like it's I feel like it's dying out despite the marketing efforts.
Yeah.
And
it feels like it's slowed down a bit.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like if we're just talking within the next couple of weeks here, like, okay, let its momentum go away. I feel like long-term Bitcoin Cash is going to discover, like, they're going to seed the battleground of what is Bitcoin to Bitcoin Core, and they're going to resume the fight kind of as their own thing. Bitcoin's going to lose a bunch of market share to altcoins, or rather a lot of market dominance to altcoins. It's going to lose a bunch to Ethereum. And when like Bitcoin's 15% of all market cap of crypto and Ethereum's like 12%, does it really matter like what the other stuff is? The ecosystem's growing like crazy. So like fighting over a few percentage points, like it's not going to matter anymore. You can have your own lane. You can be in your own lane and differentiate yourself. Like why be, why try to be Bitcoin or, you know, whatever Satoshi's white paper said, like Satoshi ain't here. Like he's probably not coming back. He has no comment unless he comes back and makes a comment. And I don't think their premise has legs without that momentum behind it right after the fork. If they couldn't do it then, they can't do it right now.
I got a theory. Satoshi is Carlos Matos.
Oh, yikes.
What's up? What's up?
I love that guy, man. I love that guy. The brazen balls.
He's so enthusiastic.
Crypto's full of them.
Well, not so. That wraps everything up for this show. Great knowledge you dropped on us and everybody listening. I'm sure that they'll appreciate that. Again, from all of us, thank you extremely.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for your knowledge and your sharing your opinions too. I always really appreciate the chats, and I'll see you in the pod for some shit posting.
I gotta say, man, I think I learned more on your episodes than any other.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I kind of just
makes me want to get back into the mining game.
Yeah, hey, if you do, like, I love talking mining with people, and a lot of the time, like, people are finding their own cool stuff to mine and bringing it to me, and I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. You know, I'm not even leading the charge at all anymore. I'm just trying to like keep people from spending too much money or, you know, ruining their hearing or boiling their girlfriend, which not a good idea if you live in an apartment.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. Wish you nothing but the best in the year to come, and I'm sure that we'll have you on here again. So
I look forward to it very much. So thanks, guys.
And everyone, thanks for listening. Take care. Peace out. Tip your waitress. They're busting their ass to make sure your sodas are filled, damn it. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out. See you guys.